China stunned the world in March 2025, halting $2.4 billion in U.S. LNG imports with no warning, picking Australia as its new supplier, per Reuters. This sudden axing, a jab at Trump's 10% tariff on Chinese goods, roils the global energy market. This isn't a pivot. It's a power play. Energy analyst Amy Myers-Jaffe warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg report, "China's snubbed us. America's LNG crown slips." With the U.S. pumping 91 million tons in 2024, losing its number 2 buyer stings hard. Trump poked. They pulled the plug, analysts say, as Beijing redraws the energy map overnight. China's 2025 LNG cutoff slashed U.S. exports, once 91 million tons strong, redirecting shipments to Europe, sidestepping Trump's tariffs, per Bloomberg. Germany, Netherlands, and Italy pounced, tweaking policies to grab cheaper Asian gas amid Russia's supply void. This isn't a detour, it's a deft redirection. Energy strategist Daniel Yergin noted in a March 2025 Reuters analysis, "China's flipped the board, Europe's eating our lunch." With the U.S. sidelined, the EU ramps up ports and storage, seizing a lifeline. Trump's tariff tantrum gifted Europe a win, analysts say, as Beijing's pivot turns America's loss into a continental gain. As Europe snatched China's LNG in 2025, the U.S., once a 91 million ton titan, lost market clout, watching revenue bleed to rivals, per Reuters. Australia swooped in, inking a $1.5 billion 15-year deal with China Resources Gas for 600,000 tons yearly. This isn't a swap, it's a strategic steal. Energy economist Philip Verliger warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg report, "America's sidelined, Australia's seizing the reins." With U.S. terminals idled, Canberra's cheaper, faster gas cements its edge. Trump's tariff blunder handed them the prize, analysts say, as Australia's rise marks a stinging blow to U.S. energy sway. Australia's $1.5 billion LNG deal with China in 2025, 20% cheaper, 10 days faster, snubs the U.S., a longtime ally, as Beijing's $1.44 billion strong economy flexes its energy clout, per Bloomberg. This 15-year pact isn't just commerce, it's a geopolitical gut punch. Strategic analyst Michael Shoebridge warned in a March 2025 Reuters report, "Trump's tariffs flipped an ally, China's the victor." With U.S. exports sidelined, Australia's proximity and price reshape Asia's energy chessboard. America's out. Canberra's in Beijing's corner, analysts say, as this shift signals a tectonic realignment against Washington's fading leverage. China's 2025 LNG pivot, slashing U.S. imports to 5.4% from 20%, reflects a $1.44 billion-strong giant's quest for energy independence, per Reuters. Post-2019 tariffs, Beijing inked deals with Qatar, Russia, and Central Asia, eyeing the 2027 East Asia gas pipeline. This isn't a tweak, it's a Titan's transformation. Energy expert Kevin Book warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg analysis, "China's cut us loose, self-reliance rules." With Australia now key, the U.S. fades as Beijing builds a fortress of supply. Trump's tariffs birthed their breakout, analysts say, as China's strategic shift leaves America's energy influence in the dust. China's 2025 energy shift slashed U.S. LNG imports, once 400,000 tons yearly, $2.4 billion, leaving terminals with unsold stockpiles, per Bloomberg. Contracts dissolved, shipping costs soared as Australia overtook America in Asia's LNG race. This isn't a hiccup, it's a humbling hit. Industry insider Ellen Wald warned in a March 2025 Reuters report, "Trump's trade war orphaned our LNG, terminals are tombs." With China's autonomy flexing, U.S. exporters scramble in vain. "He's lost the East, our gas gathers dust," analysts say, as Beijing's diversification strands America's energy ambitions, U.S. LNG terminals sat idle in 2025 after China's cutoff, sparked by Trump's February 20% tariff on Chinese goods, per Reuters. Beijing slashed American imports, cozying up to Canada and the EU, costing farmers and firms billions. This isn't strategy. It's a self-inflicted stab. Trade analyst Lori Wallach warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg report, Trump's tariff bomb blew up in our face. Allies profit. With Asia lost, his misstep hemorrhages U.S. leverage. He swung at China, hit us instead, analysts say, as Trump's gambit turns gains into gaping losses. Trump's 2025 tariff misfire, 20% on China, 10% on Canada, saw Beijing swap U.S. crude for Canadian oil via the Trans Mountain pipeline, now pumping 890,000 barrels daily, per Bloomberg. Once China's top supplier, America's ousted as Canada claims 50% of Beijing's crude imports. This isn't a shuffle, it's a shutout. Oil expert Robert McNally warned in a March 2025 Reuters report, Trump's tariffs crowned Canada, U.S. crude's cooked. With TMX's upgrade, Ottawa snags Asia's thirst, sidelining American rigs. He taxed allies. They took our turf, analysts say, as Canada's pipeline triumph buries U.S. energy clout. With Canada's oil surging to China via TMX in 2025, the LNG Canada project, set for 14 to 26 million tons yearly, looms to eclipse U.S. gas, per Reuters. Trump's trade curbs handed Beijing a new supplier, sidelining America's LNG edge. This isn't a sidestep, it's a seismic supplanting. Energy strategist Ellen Wald warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg report, Canada's LNG leap buries us. Trump's tariffs paved the way. As U.S. exports fade, Ottawa locks in China's trust. He pushed, they pulled Canada closer, analysts say, as this megaproject cements America's energy eclipse. Canada's 2025 LNG Canada project, boasting 14 to 26 million tons yearly, ousts U.S. gas as China pivots from Trump's trade barriers, per Bloomberg. With Qatar and Australia in tow, Beijing diversifies, cementing Canada as a linchpin. This isn't a switch, it's a stranglehold on U.S. prospects. Geopolitical analyst Michael Clare warned in a March 2025 Reuters report, Canada's LNG locks China in, Trump's out in the cold. As U.S. restrictions falter, Ottawa's rise reshapes energy loyalties. He built walls, they built bridges, analysts say, as Canada's ascent buries America's LNG ambitions. With Canada locking in China's LNG in 2025, Beijing gutted U.S. agriculture, soybeans down to 18% from 40% since 2016, Brazil and Argentina now at 74%, per Reuters. Wheat, corn, and cotton follow, swapped for South American and EU yields. This isn't a tweak, it's a takedown of American fields. Agribusiness expert Chad Hart warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg report, Trump's trade wars reaping ruin, China's ditched us. As Canada rises, U.S. farmers face a brutal harvest of loss. He sowed tariffs, they sowed elsewhere, analysts say, as Beijing's pivot starves America's rural backbone. China's 2025 farm shift swapped U.S. pork for Spain and the Netherlands. EU exports up 35% in 2023, thanks to tighter safety rules and tariffs, per Bloomberg. American hog farmers reel as Beijing opts for stable, cheaper meat. This isn't a sideline, it's a slaughter of U.S. prospects. Agriculture analyst Brett Stewart warned in a March 2025 Reuters report, Trump's trade walls butchered our pork, Europe's feasting. With soy already lost, this blow deepens rural despair. He's handed them our bacon, analysts say, as China's pivot carves up America's meat market. U.S. pork's 2025 collapse in China, replaced by Europe, piles onto farmers' woes. Oversupply tanks prices, profits vanish, per Reuters. Small farms teeter on bankruptcy, unable to pivot from Beijing's snub. This isn't a slump, it's a slow strangulation. Farm policy expert Darren Newsom warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg report, Trump's trade gambles gutting us, rural's breaking. With Europe thriving, America's agricultural heartland chokes on surplus. He's lost China. Farmers lose everything, analysts say, as the tariff fallout turns fields into financial graveyards. As U.S. farmers drowned in 2025 surplus, China slashed investments in American tech. Google, Tesla, Intel favoring Canada, Europe, and BRICS per Bloomberg. Trump's trade war cedes billions in market share to rivals. This isn't a dip, it's a digital desertion. Tech analyst Gene Munster warned in a March 2025 Reuters report, Trump's tariffs torched our tech, China's gone elsewhere. With rural woes mounting, Silicon Valley feels the chill of Beijing's pivot. He's lost fields and chips, analysts say, as America's innovation edge slips in China's strategic shuffle. With U.S. tech losing China in 2025, Trump unveiled the F-47 jet, touted as the most lethal ever, amid an $800 billion defense splurge, per Reuters. Farmers and firms falter, yet he prioritizes warplanes over welfare. This isn't strength, it's a stinging misstep. Defense critic William Hartung blasted in a March 2025 Bloomberg report, Trump's jet fetish starves the needy, billions misspent. As tech reels, this flashy pivot fuels public fury. He's arming skies, grounds collapsing, analysts say, spotlighting a leader blind to domestic decay. Trump's 2025 F-47 jet reveal, costing $800 billion, clashes with slashed social programs. Millions suffer as defense soars, per Bloomberg. Critics slam this imbalance as tensions brew, questioning military over citizens. This isn't focus, it's a flagrant disconnect. Social policy expert Melissa Botich raged in a March 2025 Reuters column, Trump's jets soar, welfare's gutted, unforgivable. With tech and farms reeling, this prioritizes steel over struggling souls. He's armoring up, leaving us unarmed, analysts warn, as public outrage swells against a White House deaf to need. Amid 2025 welfare cuts, Trump called the U.S.-Canada border artificial, hinting at annexation despite $600 billion in trade, per Reuters. Canada, a key ally, recoiled from his imperial whim. This isn't diplomacy, it's a delusional overreach. Foreign affairs expert Janice Stein warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg analysis, Trump's conquest talk's a fantasy, Canada's not bowing. With backlash brewing, his border boast alienates a vital partner. He's dreaming of states, we're losing stakes, analysts say, as Trump's rhetoric sours a critical alliance. Trump's 2025 Canada conquest fantasy, despite $600 billion in trade, met a brick wall as Ottawa deepened defense pacts with Europe, Australia, Japan, and South Korea, per Bloomberg. His border bluster spurred a defiant pivot. This isn't retreat, it's a resolute realignment. Security analyst Stephanie Carvin warned in a March 2025 Reuters report, Trump's pipe dreams pushing Canada outward, alliances harden. With U.S. welfare slashed, Ottawa's strategic shift fortifies its stance. He's eyeing states, they're eyeing strength, analysts say, as Canada's global web thwarts Trump's overreach. As Canada forged 2025 global ties, Trump praised King Charles and mused about joining the Commonwealth, 56 nations, under a monarch, per Reuters. This wild swing from conquest jars a democratic bedrock. This isn't whimsy, it's a bewildering lurch. Political theorist Corey Robin warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg column, Trump's monarchy flirtation's unhinged, he's chasing crowns. With alliances fraying, his oddball nod risks U.S. sovereignty. He's lost Canada, now he's groveling to kings, analysts scoff, as this bizarre pivot deepens his disconnect. Trump's 2025 Commonwealth fantasy, bowing to King Charles across 56 nations, clashes with U.S. democratic roots, risking sovereignty for a monarch's leash, per Bloomberg. This bizarre bid reshapes global ties on a whim. This isn't vision, it's a violation of founding tenets. Constitutional scholar Aziz Hook warned in a March 2025 Reuters analysis, Trump's king-kissing craters our republic, reckless folly. With Canada slipping away, his royal reverie baffles allies. He's trading stars for scepters, analysts mock, as this monarchical mirage jars America's identity amid a fracturing world. Trump's 2025 Commonwealth musing cedes ground as he pushes mass deportations sans legal process, rattling the U.S. justice system, per Reuters. Rights hang in the balance under his hardline fist. This isn't reform, it's a reckless rupture. Legal expert Deborah Anker warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg report, Trump's deportation spree trashes due process. Chaos beckons. Beyond monarchy dreams, this move stokes class strife and resistance. He's shredding law. Tensions ignite, analysts say, as his unchecked power play jars a nation's legal core. Trump's 2025 deportation push sidesteps law, echoing his 2020 election fraud claims. Dozens of courts rejected them, per Reuters. His baseless, stolen victory rant still festers, eroding democratic trust. This isn't nostalgia, it's a nagging wound reopened. Political scientist Larry Sabato warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg analysis, Trump's old lies fester anew. Faith fractures. With legal norms already bent, this obsession fuels division. He's dodging justice, reviving ghosts, analysts say, as his stale election gripes clash with a nation craving real fixes. As Trump's 2025 election lies lingered, Bernie Sanders tore in, calling it a lie backed by power. A systemic rot, not a quirk, per Bloomberg. Unscripted, he shredded Trump's unpolished rants as hollow. This isn't critique, it's a cleaving of character. Progressive voice Naomi Klein hailed in a March 2025 Reuters column, Bernie's bearing the sham, Trump's a shell. Beyond 2020's echo, Sanders unmasks a leader adrift from truth. He raves. Bernie raises, analysts say, as this raw takedown pierces Trump's crumbling veneer with surgical force. Bernie Sanders' 2025 blast, a lie backed by power, escalated as he mocked Trump's self-made billionaire claim, citing bankrupt casinos and a sham university, per Reuters. A court-shuttered charity blew $800 billion on a self-portrait. Excess, not leadership. This isn't scorn. It's a scathing strip-down. Economic justice advocate Robert Reich roared in a March 2025 Bloomberg column, Bernie's peeling Trump's guilt, grift shines through. Beyond election rants, Sanders spotlights a profiteer cloaked as populist. He paints himself gold. Bernie paints him gone, analysts say, as this takedown flays Trump's veneer, revealing a hollow core propped by pilfered trust. Bernie Sanders' 2025 takedown of Trump's greed turned to healthcare, mocking a tweeted plan at 3 a.m. as a sham, per Reuters. While Sanders flies coach, pushing universal coverage, Trump's insulin fix stays a mirage. This isn't contrast, it's a crushing indictment. Health policy expert Sarah Rosenbaum warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg analysis, Bernie's real. Trump's a 3 a.m. tweet storm fraud. Beyond casinos, Sanders exposes a leader peddling vapor over relief. He's posting, people perish, analysts say, as Bernie's grit lays bare Trump's hollow healthcare boasts. Bernie Sanders' 2025 healthcare slam morphed into a broader truth. The people decide, not Trump's tax cuts for billionaires masked as aid, per Reuters. His unpolished fire torched Trump's alternative facts facade. This isn't debate, it's a demolition of deceit. Political strategist Rachel Beitkofer hailed in a March 2025 Bloomberg report, Bernie's torching Trump's illusions, raw and real. Beyond tweeted plans, he champions the voiceless against gilded lies. He's for insulin, Trump's for ink, analysts quip, as Sanders' stark honesty shatters a presidency built on hollow hype. Bernie Sanders' 2025 cry, people decide, spoke for insulin-starved families and college debt kids, not Trump's $445,000 Birkin bag galas, per Reuters. While Sanders fights, Trump fundraises off supporters, ducking probes. This isn't clash, it's a chasm of purpose. Economic populist Matt Stoller praised in a March 2025 Bloomberg column, "Bernie's with the broke, Trump's with the bags." Beyond rhetoric, Sanders bears a leader exploiting, not uplifting, his base. He's for the poor, Trump's for the party, analysts say, as Bernie's grit contrasts a White House lost in lavish deflection. While Bernie rallied for the poor in 2025, Trump flaunted a portrait mugshot split image, begging donors amid a $445,000 Birkin bash at Mar-a-Lago, per Bloomberg. His economic plan stays theater, not substance. This isn't strategy, it's a shameless spectacle. Media watchdog Margaret Sullivan skewered in a March 2025 Reuters column, "Trump's mugshot's a grift, policy's a ghost." With supporters tapped dry, his lavish plea mocks their plight. Bernie fights, Trump flaunts, analysts say, as this garish gambit exposes a leader more showman than savior. Beyond 2025's $445,000 Birkin gala, Trump's allies peddled Russia-friendly tales, sharing Putin-aligned articles claiming shared leadership philosophy, per Reuters. Ukraine fired back, debunking his NATO stance as hollow. This isn't flair, it's a flimsy flirtation with foes. Foreign policy expert Fiona Hill warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg analysis, Trump's cozying to Putin, Ukraine's not fooled. With mugshots fading, this pro-Russia tilt baffles even his base. He's mugging for Moscow, credibility's toast, analysts say, as Trump's odd pivot from donor pleas to Kremlin nods stirs suspicion. Trump's 2025 Russia-friendly tilt paired with a plan to wield the 1798 Alien Enemies Act for mass deportations, skipping due process, hit a wall. A judge blocked it in 14 days, per Reuters. His hardline bid faltered fast. This isn't control, it's a courtroom curb. Immigration scholar Hiroshi Motomura warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg report, "Trump's deportation dream's a legal dud, judges won't bend." Fresh off Putin praise, this flop fuels dissent. He's cozying to tyrants, courts say no, analysts say, as Trump's unchecked power play crumbles under judicial scrutiny. OPEC's 2025 supply cut, rocking U.S. oil, slams shale's pricey extraction, unviable if prices dip, while ESG rules choke funding, per Bloomberg. As oil spikes, inflation looms, threatening a broader bust. This isn't pressure, it's a precarious pinch. Oil analyst Amy Myers-Jaffe warned in a March 2025 Reuters report, shale's a cash sink, OPEC's strangling it. With Trump's tariffs faltering, clean energy lures investors away. He's stuck in oil, futures fleeing, analysts say, as shale's costly gamble teeters on collapse amid OPEC's tightening grip. Shale's 2025 cost crunch deepens as OPEC's squeeze lifts oil prices, pushing consumers to EVs and slashing gasoline demand, per Reuters. High extraction costs could render U.S. oil unviable, forcing a pivot or peril. This isn't a trend, it's a tipping point. Automotive expert Mary Barra warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg report, Trump's oil bets backfiring, EVs are accelerating. With ESG drying up funds, majors face a stark choice, adapt or atrophy. He's clinging to pumps, drivers ditch them, analysts say, as OPEC's grip hastens a seismic shift from fossil fuels. EV gains in 2025 amplify OPEC's oil price surge, hiking U.S. inflation and stoking recession fears, per Bloomberg. Shale's woes and volatile production signal a broader bust as costs spiral. This isn't a blip, it's a brewing breakdown. Economist Nouriel Roubini warned in a March 2025 Reuters analysis, Trump's tariff legacy's a recession fuse, oil's the spark. With EV adoption outpacing oil's grip, economic tremors loom large. He's lost control, collapse creeps closer, analysts say, as OPEC's squeeze tightens the noose on America's fiscal fate. With recession looming in 2025, Trump pivots, pushing to revive Keystone XL, a 1,900-kilometer pipeline axed for eco-fears, after dismissing Canadian oil, per Reuters. U.S. fuel needs now crave Ottawa's 890,000 barrels daily. This isn't pride, It's a panicked plea. Energy analyst Kevin Book warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg report, Trump's groveling for Canada, tariffs burned that bridge. As OPEC tightens, his flip-flop reeks of desperation, not strategy. He spurned them. Now he's begging, analysts say, as Keystone's revival chase exposes America's oil bind. Trump's 2025 Keystone XL plea falters as Canada, pumping 890,000 barrels daily, eyes curbs on U.S. oil and gas exports, per Bloomberg. Raw material costs like aluminum and steel spike, threatening American factories. This isn't leverage, it's a lethal counterstrike. Resource strategist Michael Clare warned in a March 2025 Reuters analysis, Canada's flipping the script, Trump's fuels at their mercy. With Keystone in limbo, Ottawa's poised to choke U.S. supply lines. He begged. They're bargaining, analysts say, as Canada's energy grip tightens, turning ally into arbiter. Canada's 2025 threat to curb U.S. oil, 890,000 barrels daily, looms as a lifeline Trump can't ignore, per Reuters. Without it, factories stall, China and India eye Ottawa's bounty, eroding U.S. sway. This isn't a bluff, it's a bold checkmate. Energy analyst Samantha Gross warned in a March 2025 Bloomberg report, Canada's oil's our crutch, Trump's trade wars snapping it. As Keystone hangs, America's fuel fate teeters on a rival's whim. He's cornered, Canada's king, analysts say, as Ottawa's leverage exposes a U.S. energy empire on borrowed time. With Canada's oil grip tightening 890,000 barrels daily in 2025, Trump pushes Keystone XL, once nixed, to secure U.S. energy, per Bloomberg. Yet eco-fears in Canada's leverage cloud its fate. This isn't a fix, it's a fragile lifeline. Pipeline expert John Studdy warned in a March 2025 Reuters report, Trump's Keystone bids a long shot, Canada holds the cards. As U.S. needs soar, revival teeters on Ottawa's terms. He's grasping, Canada's not giving, analysts say, as this desperate play falters under Allied defiance.